Because then people will start blaming like the pixelation on your internet, not mine, which is untrue.
Unfair.
It's all the internet at my location that is the problem. I will say that very openly because it's not my choice. Anyway, all right,
I'm gonna run EJ Card's ad first, and then
and then some music.
then some music. Yeah, because I always forget to put the ads in, so this way it's one less thing for me to forget. Yeah.
Let's hit it.
Thank you to our sponsor EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au.
Welcome everybody to episode 114 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. Russell, the NBA season is here.
It is, and it's firing on all cylinders. I think that's the best way to describe it.
It's been an exciting start to the year. That's good. I like it. People are competing.
Competitive.
There's a tournament coming. They advertise the crap out of it. I have no idea what's going on. There's a tournament coming. That's all I know.
That's about all. I'm up with that too, mate.
Yep. But there'll be a tournament and a trophy for the tournament. And that's enough about that.
Yep.
What have we...
All right.
Yeah, let's get straight into it.
Tim Duncan has signed with Panini.
Now, I thought he was slow, but really? Panini? Does he realize they're losing the... Maybe they don't have the internet out there. Maybe he doesn't know about Panini losing the license.
Well, my theory on that is that the cash they didn't have to spend on Victor because he signed with Fanatics, they need to spend on something. So I think Duncan's a good spend. You know, he's really should have been signing autographs the last 20 years, to be perfectly honest.
It's true.
And he's actually quite tough to get autographs on. So I'm definitely psyched to be able to get some stuff back. So apparently he's got 50,000 stickers and he'll be signing on cards too. So there's going to be...
I was going to say, there better be some on cards as well.
There's going to be heaps out in the marketplace. So
Nice.
probably the only thing to consider now is be a little bit judicious on, you know, buying current sort of Duncan stuff, because I think that might take a little bit of a dive,
Okay.
just for the fact that, you know, there's 50,000 more coming. But other than that, it's all just very, very good news for collectors. And where I was going with this is, what athlete would you like to see sign that currently isn't signing at the moment?
Oh, I don't know.
Did I put you in a tricky
A
one?
tricky one. I don't know who's not signing. So
So my one's Greg Popovich.
oh, I'd love a
Pop.
Popovich. Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
they sort of stopped doing coaches cards, and I know, you know, when you hit a coaches card in a break, it's not exactly something you want to do
True.
push-ups over, but at the same time,
Well,
I actually don't mind the Steve
yeah.
Kerr stuff,
Yeah.
even Frank Vogel. I would even go that far, you know. And Pop is super hard, and he actually hasn't got autographs in products, but he's signed napkins and business cards, and he's signed a couple of cards, and they go for ridiculous, like
Yeah. I think we
absolute
talked
rock
about that.
bottom.
We looked up that, and it's a couple $100 for a pop auto.
250
Yeah.
USD.
Yeah.
So that will be the next one for me. You know, if they can't get Victor, get Pop.
Okay. I was going to say, I think I might be right that he's not with Panini. Scottie Pippen is one I would want. But that's just because I'm a bit of a Pippen diehard.
So Pip's back in the news, and he's doing some ads for Sportsbet and all the rest of it.
He's pumping up the NBL. He's been signed on as a sort of a, what are they called? Advocate for the season.
Yep.
So he's going to be back in Australia, I believe, early in the new year as well with the NBL finals. So
Yeah.
rumor
If
has
Pip
it
was
there'll be
back-
some meet and greet and opportunities and things like that coming. Because he was with LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, at the opening round of the NBL.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, segue wise, you talked about Tim Duncan. I'm gonna push this in a direction. Wembanyama, opening night, same stats as Timmy Duncan.
All right,
Coincidence?
what's your 3 takeaways so far from Victor?
That kid is going to snap in half at some point. He needs to be fed. He needs to put some bulk on. There's nothing of him. He is not afraid, and he is going to be very good. He needs to eat more. He's going to be good, and he's not afraid.
So my 3 takeaways are he's super competitive, and I think that plays into what you're saying with he's not afraid.
Yeah.
The height of his release on the jump shot is just ridiculous. You know when people talk about Kareem Skyhook, how it's like the unblockable shot?
Yep.
I think this is almost the second closest or the next closest thing to that Skyhook. Just his simple turnaround jump shot. It is absolutely ridiculous. And
It's got to get itself a nickname by some... Surely, if it's that.
it almost makes me feel that it adds an extra dimension to the court where... And I'd almost put that over to the way he defends too. Like some of the shots he's been blocking are, out of the shooter's hands, and he still, manages to get to it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then the third thing for me is just the way he scores. Catch and shoot on threes, pick and pop, pick and dive to the, thing on post-ups. He's scoring off crossovers, and it's just, I don't know. It seems to me like he's really got the complete package in game 2?
He's only had a couple of games, and he's looking amazing. That said, that's a sample size of 2, plus some preseason stuff. So I don't know. I'm excited. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm very excited. I said the kid's going to have a future if he stays healthy. It's the only worry. I worry about him, and I worry about Chet. There is nothing of those two.
It's super funny for me because I think I really enjoy prospecting, but then when you see someone like Victor, it's almost like, why do I even bother going through discount bins looking for people? Like, is this the one you should just be buying, and it's done? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
true.
That's the other thought I've had about all this too. And look, my traditional thing to do would be completely avoid these prospects. Like, I've got very, very little Zion. I've got very little Jar, and part of that is because I'm just like, not that it's too obvious, but it's also like very high risk just because of the price that goes along with it.
True.
So that's probably the other thing that I've been thinking about this year. Like, who should I be looking at instead of Victor? And I think Scoot looks really good. And this is probably the first segue out of a segue, but he looks really, really good.
Scoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be
strong,
interesting.
athletic, really good basketball mind. Like, and I don't want to go too far with this, but the way he plays point guard and controls the court, I don't want to say Chris Paul, but maybe a step less than Chris Paul, maybe a better Drew Holiday, or something like this. He's going to be super fun. So yeah, what's your favorite moment so far of the season, or favorite player, or who's caught your eye and you've sort of been said, okay, great, I need to check out some cards for this guy?
All right, so there's one on my radar that I'm. I don't know. Should I let the cat out of the bag? Nah, he's already been in the media. Detroit. First 3 games from. I'm just trying to bring up the stats. Jalen Duren.
Yeah, sure. Talk to me about Duren.
All right, let's see stats.
And just by the way, before you even start, this is a tough sell for me to buy into Duren because
he is.
There's 2 other players on the Pistons that I probably like more. So
true.
Convince me.
All right. So first three games, 17 points, 14 points, 23 points. Where are we? So he's doubled his average already. Sure. Last season, in his rookie year, he was 9.1 points per game, 9 rebounds and an assist.
Yeah.
First 3
Still pretty
games.
tidy. Yeah.
Right. 18 points, averaging 15 rebounds and 4 assists.
Yeah.
This kid has taken a monumental step up. And I think some of those people on the Pistons that you're talking about are the ones that are helping him.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like Cade looks
Yeah.
amazing. I actually
Yeah.
think this is a very exciting young core,
Yeah.
and Duran might be an interesting piece here.
Yeah.
That's my lukewarm take.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, look, it's
I like
it's only
I
the
like Detroit
third
early.
game
Yeah.
of the season, isn't it? So you do have to be a little bit lukewarm about this. But at the same time, I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
really glad that you spoke about the Pistons, because for me, this is my last year's Thunder or my last year's Magic. Like, I think these
Yep.
guys are going to be super fun this year.
Yep.
And then,
It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
so my hot take on the Pistons is, I think Cade Cunningham, come on, we've done this to death. You don't need me to do it. I've been going on about Cade the last 5 months, so I'm feeling very fantastic, and I'm feeling very happy about the Cade purchases that I bought. So like, let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But then, so my Pistons take is this though: is Jaden Ivey the good Ja Morant? Because some people said he was sort of a second version of Ja Morant.
Oh, yeah. I know
Right?
what you mean, though.
So now that Ja Morant's going through all these problems, and now there's sort of talk that he's not doing that well off the court, and mentally he's not holding up, and all this sort of thing. What's he going to look like when he comes back? And Steven Adams is injured, and he was sort of the thing that was holding that team together. Things aren't looking fantastic in Memphis. So do you then say, should I be buying Jaden Ivey if I really love Ja Morant? Like, that's sort of my hot, ridiculous take. And it's probably not as bad as my Jordan Poole take from last week, considering how bad Poole's looked so far. But,
Fair.
I was honest about it. I said it was pretty right wing.
Look. I think we can forget about the what's going on with Jordan Poole. We can forget about Washington. Really, I don't think they're going to be much to look at this season. But Cade Cunningham, as you're very right, well put. What, he's at 22? He's averaging 22 points in his first 3 games and 8 assists.
Yeah.
Like, he's really getting his teammates involved.
Yeah. The points I'm not so fussed about, but I think if he's an elite playmaker and he's got the body that he's got, and he can also get shots, when he wants to, kind of like what Chris Paul does, just, takes over in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I think that's super exciting for a team like the Pistons, because they can actually win some games, and they've already, won a game this season, which doesn't seem like much, but then they had another game that was a close loss. So,
and it's one of those things where 3 games is not a lot to gauge on, and we're definitely not going to count chickens before they hatch, but there are positive signs.
I think it's okay to be excited 3 games in, though. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Like, it's
Yeah.
good. It's a good thing to actually be excited about it. So they're 2-1
Definitely.
after 3 games.
Yeah.
Who would have called that?
No, definitely not. And that's a really good. Let's just say they lose the next 5. It's still a good start, and it's still a good thing overall. Do you know what I mean? They've been really bad the last couple of years. So
Take it from someone whose team started 2-10 last season.
Hey, really quickly, if you had to choose between Ivy, Cunningham, and Duran, who would you pick out of the 3 to buy?
Cunningham.
Yeah.
I think it's still Cade. I'll check card ladder now, because I think price is a factor.
Of course.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Cade, we don't want the base, we want the silver. And we want... What's that the last few months? He's been a bit... He's still in that. The silvers are... Raw silvers are... You can pick up fairly cheap. And you've seen... There's been no real uptrend.
Yeah, right.
Last sold 379 USD, which is up a little bit. I think he was in that 300 bracket. So
What about for the last 6 months? What's it trended in the last 6 months?
He's up 8%. So he's averaging around that 350 mark. So I still think for what we're witnessing, he might be definitely worth a bit of a look-see. I think he's on the upward trend.
Yep.
And if it's not this year, he continues with numbers like this, he might be pushing for All-Star selection in the next year or so.
Yeah.
I think Detroit has to be in more prominent standing. Like, they need to keep this kind of record up, but I think he is definitely putting a case together for himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
James Harden misses practice then it's reported that it's to do with a family member who's been unwell. Allegedly, and this is not through official ESPN, but it's through Twitter sources, he was locked out of the facility afterwards. And that's very reminiscent of the whole Ben Simmons being locked out of the training facility. He was texting people to try and get into the building. So that seems like almost a trend now in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The issue for me with Harden is that there's no one to trade with them. Literally, it's been talked about quite freely. You know, there's no one that, you know, wants this guy. So, look, for me, it's actually a little bit of a tragedy for Embiid because I think that's, you know, quite unfortunate for him. The winner out of this, though, is Tyrese Maxey. I think that's the big one we have to really talk about
Maxey.
Because
Maxey's capitalizing, isn't he?
Yeah, and I feel like last week when we spoke about Maxey, I was a little bit not really wanting to commit. I was sort of like, well, 200 is, you know, is quite high, but then the way that he's been playing early in the season, it actually is that 200 too low now. So I think, you know, that's the silver lining of this, you know, really terrible situation. I really like Maxey. I think that he's got a lot of physical tools that will let him succeed in the NBA. And then allegedly in the offseason, he had been practicing all point guard skills. So,
Interesting.
you know, read and react and, you know, handling the ball a lot more. And the ball is just in his hands, you know, very large, you know, chunks of it. So if you look at his card ladder at the moment, it has gone up in a very straight vertical line. So his last 3 sales was $198 to $240 and to $253. So we were talking about this at 200.
Yeah.
And I was
Umming and ahhing.
I'm wrong about this. I think I just have to say that, you know, Maxey's has come out of the gates.
It's interesting to
Firing.
me. I'm looking at, and look, it's a different price point, but the pop count here for Tyrese's silver is 327.
Correct, yeah.
Right. The pop count on Cade is 174 from memory. I'm going back. Don't mind me just doing research while we're recording.
No, that's totally fine.
174 pop count.
Yeah, so I don't read a lot of pop count into these guys just yet. Because remember, we went through that really difficult time.
Yeah, you're right. People will still have cards to grade. Yeah.
And there's plenty of time, you know, to get them in. I think also, too, the thing with Cade to keep in mind, too, no one saw him for the last 12 months. So I don't think there was a lot of people.
Well, I just find it hilarious that Maxey's already got nearly 400 cards. That was my main takeaway.
Yeah, sure.
That it's not that Cade's been undergraded, that people have been getting on Tyrese Maxey. 327 is not someone you're kind of just prospecting on. There's some serious numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just an interesting side note for that one. But yes, Card Ladder thinks it's about the right price. Card Ladder value is $253.75.
Yeah, right. I don't know how accurate that.
I think it's a
value is,
weird
to be honest.
algorithm that doesn't work all that well. But it's not saying it's undervalued or overvalued. It's saying it's fairly valued. So
Yeah.
the trend must be real, I guess. I don't know how all these stats work. Maybe you should reach out to people that know.
Andre Iguodala has officially announced his retirement from the NBA. So safe travels, Andre. And what's your favorite Iguodala memory?
The LeBron James MVP that he won. It's quite funny because we joke about that. Friends and I joke about this MVP award because it's like, hang on a second. LeBron was just the best player in that series. Why can't you just do the Jerry West thing and give it to LeBron?
There's some super weird unspoken rules about the MVP, though. You know, if you're in a losing team, you don't win it, even if you're the best player. And
well, Jerry West won it as the best player on a losing team.
But can you be an MVP of a losing team? That doesn't actually make sense. MVP.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. I get it. I get the logic and the rationale behind it. I just find it funny because they were like, "Who do we give it to on the Warriors?" Clearly, LeBron James is the MVP. Let's give it to the guy who guarded LeBron.
Can I just talk about the elephant in the room though? Couldn't they have just given it to Steph that year?
They could have.
Like Iguodala played well, but it looks like he was the MVP though.
You think about why he's so valuable. If he hadn't had done the job he did on LeBron,
Yeah, sure.
the Cavs win that.
But Ben Wallace didn't get MVP in the finals, did he?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
I
a
know.
bit-
Anyway.
Anyway,
You know who won the other year when LeBron was defeated, right?
who?
Kawhi. For doing what? Guarding LeBron James.
I mean, Kawhi did a bit on the other end, probably a bit more than Iggy
His
did.
Spurs Finals MVP was a defensive workshop on LeBron James.
Masterpiece.
Yeah. Interesting though. Yes. But all the best, Andre Iguodala. Yeah. I think he's the what would you call him? We call him the pioneer of the veteran accepting their role off the bench. That would be my most notable thing about Iguodala.
Okay.
Is when he joined that Warriors team, Steve Kerr had to talk to him and said, "Look, we need you to come off the bench." And he didn't have a sook about it. He accepted that he was at that point of his career and that was the role he needed to play. So,
Yep.
yeah, very very honourable. And yeah, now does it make LeBron the oldest player in the league?
Oh, by far.
A long way.
Yeah. It's not even close. Yep. Sunday, 19th of November at the Melbourne Pavilion, the Hobby Hangout Trading Card Show.
What?
Get your
There's a
tickets
thing on the 19th of November.
at thehobbyhangout.com.au. We'll be there doing a podcast. Darcy from Palms Off Gaming, Dom and Sauce will be there. Omar from One of One Memorabilia. And that is the end of tonight's ad. We only have about 5 minutes left, ad. So let's try and get through one or two
All right.
quick things in the run sheet.
All right, I'll go back to the run sheet. Let's see, Iguodala. No, we're good. All right. What would you like? You can.
Wade Anthony sent us in a question. What would you class the higher end out of Mosaic Hobby or Mosaic Fast Break? So I think for me, actually, this is really straightforward. It's people collect hobby more.
Yeah. Isn't
And-
hobby normally the higher end product?
Fast Break is basically about half the price of what you would pay for a hobby.
Is
The
it
prices do change from sort of product to product, but very much in particular with Prism Fast Break. In saying that, the Fast Break cards have some very nice ones. The rookie
True.
variants, I
Yep.
love those. The pop counts on that are always low.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also get all your numbered stuff too. But look, there was for a while I was actually buying up Fast Break stuff thinking that, this equation's going to flip around and, people are going to catch up to it. But despite the pop counts being lower, despite even if you find them more aesthetically pleasing, the Silver Prism is still king. And look, you can get those out of Fast Breaks, but that's more of a hobby or even a retail, pool really. Yep. What would you consider the difference or variance in price between PSA 9 and a PSA 10? So
Ooh,
At
that's
the
a
moment-
research thing, isn't it?
yeah, so at
Yeah.
the moment you can almost expect at least double the price from PSA 9 to 10 and sometimes triple the price. Now, PSA 8, this one's really easy. PSA 8 is basically raw. So PSA 9, you might get a little bit more than raw, maybe say $30. You might cover your grading fee and that's about it. But at the moment, there is quite a large difference in price between a 9 and a 10. Yep.
Yeah.
Wade hit a number to 10 Mosaic Fast Break, and he's very keen to get it off to grading, and he's hoping to get that back as a 10. So we'll put some of the pictures up on the socials for that. So Wade, thank you so much for the beautiful question, mate. That was
Yeah.
fun.
That was awesome. Got any other?
Actually, I want to plug our own stuff. So
Well, I
we've
was
got-
waiting to go. Can we do our next episode? It's gonna be fun.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we want to try and do is do a segment in next week's episode called Card Advice. And if you're a Ryan Rosillo fan, he does this thing called Life Advice. So basically, you send us in the questions, and then you can make it as ridiculous or as serious as you want it to be, and then we'll answer it appropriately. I hope we get the tone of the questions right, though, Ed.
Appropriately. Oh, this is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
great.
Now, there's 2 prizes up for grabs. There is a women's AFL box and a Pokemon 151, courtesy of our friends EJ Cards. And you can choose between each ever box it is, and I'll get that posted out to you. Australia Post Express. So we've got a few questions down already. You can leave your questions on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Yep. Yeah.
That's about it.
And that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Other news. Giannis got an extension.
So for me, this is huge.
Is it?
I think, yeah, it is. I think this is, for me, this is very important because the implication was that if the Bucks didn't put a better core around him, he would leave. And then it's just the same old teams putting their hands up. Miami Heat becomes a threat. The Los Angeles Lakers become a threat. The Clippers have, really established themselves now, I think, somewhere to go. I think they've really changed their culture around. I find that tedious. I find that boring. There's also a rumor he was linked to the Warriors. Like, for me, it's awesome. You've got awesome team in LA, awesome team in Golden State. You've got this juggernaut now, I think, in Boston, like being realistic. And now you've got this, genuine title threat with the Bucks now with Damian Lillard going there. So I love this, so much. Doesn't seem a lot of money though, does it? 3 years, $186 million after what Jaylen Brown got paid.
That's kind of what, but it was a 5-year. What was Jaylen Brown's year? It was a 5-year deal.
It's the same type of money. I think Giannis
it's the same. That's what I mean. Giannis is probably getting more. It's only a 3-year deal.
I think he's actually getting a little bit less. He's actually consistently taken slightly unders in almost every contract he's signed with the
just
Bucks.
To make sure.
I think even that $2 or $3 million a year, the amount of luxury tax relief that the team gets, the expectation is they'll pick up somebody else. That's the James Harden contract from last year when they got PJ Tucker.
True.
Yeah.
True.
All right. Last thing before we head off tonight. Have you seen any noir breaks? And if you have, what's your favorite card been so far?
I haven't seen any.
Sorry,
I've been watching basketball.
I put you on the spot on that one.
Okay, I actually haven't been watching any breaks the last
That's okay.
last month. I've been really keeping up to date with the preseason, and now we're into the basketball season.
No, I'll edit that bit out. That's totally fine. I'll ask that question again.
No, you can ask it again. I'll give you the same answer. It's fine.
No, it's fine. I want you to answer something. All right. So, last question for the night, Adam. What is your takeaway from the NBA season that you'd like to chat about before we go?
There's going to be more to this season than meets the eye. Unfortunately, I think the Memphis Grizzlies could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
That's my early...
Which is a shame. They seem like they've got a good team, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Adams being wrapped up, I think there's going to be a struggle. Maybe the Atlanta Hawks aren't as switched on as I thought they were. What else have I seen? Denver's really good, in case anybody was wondering. Nikola Jokic.
Ridiculous.
Nikola Jokic is good at basketball. Yeah.
My final thought is a question for you. Pick the player. My final stat line was 16 of 25 from the field, 9 of 14 from 3, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 49 points. Who am I?
Is that this season?
Yeah.
I don't know. Damian Lillard?
Luka Doncic.
Oh, that's right. That fun. Yeah. Did you see in the first game they almost lost to the Spurs?
Almost.
I was really hoping. I just wanted Wemby to just to swat Luka as the defining point of that game. Anyway, I tried to hold back. He's a great regular season stat man, that Luka Doncic. Unfortunately,
I was waiting for you to turn that around.
Unfortunately, that nice. Kyrie Irving's going to make sure he doesn't get to the playoffs. It's all good.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate it.
We'll be back next week with the medical center will be open. The doctors will be in. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.